الله 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 نور السماوات والأرض. Lantern of light, evolving together. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا من أرجوه لكل خير وآمن سخطه عند كل شر. يا من يعطي الكثير بالقليل. يا من يعطي من سأل. يا من يعطي من لم يسأله ومن لم يعرف تحننا منه ورحمة. أعطني بمسألتي جميع خير الدنيا وجميع خير الآخرة. واصرف عني بمسألتي إياك جميع شر الدنيا وشر الآخرة. فإنه غير منقوص ما أعطيت. وزدني من فضلك يا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. يا ذا النعماء والجود. يا ذا المن حرم شيبتي على النار.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Imam of our time. My brothers, my sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode on Lantern of Light, a platform where we try and talk about aspects and topics that affect our mind, our body, and our soul. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the light of the heavens and the earth. And we want to walk with this light within us. We want to be able to hold this divine torch and help others around us gain that light within them. It is said it is not only about you having the light within yourself and illuminating your own self, but holding the torch for others in their times of darkness. And on this platform, this is something that we hope to do. So many different people are going through different things in their life. However, collectively, as a community, we hope that we can tackle some of these issues, learn about some of these issues, and inshallah hope to grow together as a community who understand things as spiritual rather than just rituals. And we hope together as a community, inshallah, we are able to climb the ladder of spirituality, to be able to tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we tried our best while we were in this dunya to get ourselves closer to you. And that doesn't only mean through religious acts, but also through our daily, day to day things, things that we do every single day. How do we turn every single one of these actions into a form of ibadah so that we are using this dunya to create stepping stones for our akhirah, inshallah? So today we have with us a very special guest, and we'll be talking about a very interesting topic which affects every single one of us. So the topic that we're going to be looking at today is all about sleep. So let me introduce our guest, inshallah, and then we'll look at this word sleep before I hand it over to her, inshallah. Our speaker today is Farzana Walji Hooda, who is a qualified personal trainer and a fitness instructor, a nutrition coach, and a mother of four. You've all heard her before on this platform, and alhamdulillah, we have the pleasure of having her back with us today. She has worked with hundreds of women to help transform their mindsets about fitness, nutrition, health, resulting in them becoming much happier, fitter, stronger, and healthier versions of themselves. She's very, very passionate, as you'll hear when she talks to you, about helping ladies, in particular mums, to be a better version of themselves, allowing them to get themselves more active and allowing them to be better role models for their own children. By making a positive difference in mums, they in turn will be positive examples for their children, which will then have a massive impact in society as a whole. So, even though she does all of this and it's all about nutrition and about fitness, today's topic that we're looking at is all about sleep. Why is sleep so important? What is sleep? Now, when we look at the term sleep, many of us think the first thing is it's a time where we completely become sedated. Our mind, our body, and our soul, everything turns off. Especially when we're growing up, we get told when you sleep, it's like you're dead. But the research has been coming through about saying how much of your body, how much of your mind, and how much of your soul is still active, sometimes even more active in parts when you're actually asleep. So, to find out more about this and to understand the actual characteristics and the importance of sleep, let us welcome our guest today, Sister Farzana. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you, Sister Rihanna?
Alhamdulillah, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. It's good to see you again.
You too, and a very interesting topic that I'm quite interested to hear about because I know my sleeping patterns aren't brilliant. So I hope learning a little bit from you can actually make me make a change in my life as well, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll sort you out. Sleep is something
Thank you.
which I'm very, very passionate about, and it affects all aspects of your life. So thank you very much for inviting me to talk about this topic. So I'm going to start off with giving you a bit of a scenario. It's time for bed. The children are all in bed. You've finally got them to sleep. You've tidied up the kitchen. All the jobs are done. And you turn to your husband or your mom or whoever and say, oh, should we just watch a little program, just one program, and then we'll go to bed. It's already 10 o'clock or 9:30, and you think it's just time for me to relax now. So you start your program and the credits roll, half an hour or 45 minutes has passed. You look at the clock and you think, oh gosh, I really should go to bed. And you turn to your partner and you think, and you say, should we just watch one more? And before you know it, 2-3 episodes have passed on Netflix or whatever you're watching, and it's already midnight, and you know you have an early start tomorrow, and you start to panic. You turn it off and you finally go to bed. That's how most people's evenings seem to roll. The next morning, the alarm goes off, the snooze button is hit a couple of times before you finally, prize yourself out of your warm, cozy duvet. You go downstairs, you make yourself a cup of coffee or a tea to wake you up again, and you might have a sugary biscuit or something accompanying your tea, and you try and get the kids to wake up, we've got to go to school. There's a mad rush in the morning, and that's how most people's days start, and you battle through the day. So I am going to talk to you about how improving your sleep can have a massive impact on your health, your physical, mental, and spiritual self. So I will start diving into this topic? I hope that's okay, Rihanna.
Yes, please do. We have a lot of people who've been wondering how to kind of sort their sleep patterns out, how to get onto this, how do we turn off our screens a little bit earlier, and how do we actually learn to wind down the real way? So yes, please do.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen now. So I might not be able to see you, but hopefully you'll be able to see me. And feel free to jump in at any point and ask me any questions you may have. So how to increase your life, improve your health. With me. Oops. Sorry, already starting with the technical issues. So do you ever feel like this? You're always tired in the day, you've got no energy to exercise, you crave sugary foods, high fat foods, you've got lack of focus, your gut's not quite right. If you are answering yes to many of those questions, then the likelihood is that you are not getting enough sleep, or at least not getting quality sleep. Because often we think we're in bed for a long period of time, but it's actually the quality of sleep that you're getting, which is really, really important. So what does lack of sleep do to you? Now, I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I talk to my kids all the time about, the lack of sleep. And actually, when clients come to me for fitness, the first thing we do is sort out people's sleep, because when you're tired, everything else feels hard. You don't have energy to do things, and life just feels really, really difficult. So according to the World Health Organization, lack of sleep can cause an increased risk of diabetes. Now, when you don't get enough sleep, your hormone levels in your body actually go out of whack, so they become really irregular. And this includes the hormone cortisol. So this cortisol, which is actually the stress hormone, we need some stress in our body, but too much can cause your blood sugars to become irregular, resulting in behavioral changes of what you eat. So you crave more sugar, it keeps you awake at night. So there's a whole host of problems which arise from, not sleeping enough. And we'll talk a bit more about blood sugars later as well. It can also have a massive effect on your hormone levels. So again, the cortisol is one of those hormones, the stress hormone. So too much stress in your body can cause you to wake at night. And that's why a lot of people, when they are experiencing stressful times in their life, it can cause lots of hormone irregularities, even with your menstruation, or just not feeling quite right. So you have a greater chance of heart attacks and strokes. Now, this one really, is quite worrying, that in one American study, people sleeping less than 6 hours a night had a 20% higher chance of having a heart attack or a stroke, which actually, a massive increase. And also, when you sleep, your blood pressure naturally dips by 20%, which is 10 to 20%, which is really good. But if you're not sleeping at night, your blood pressure is elevated, and this could lead to hypertension as well. Weight gain. Now, I know firsthand, when I am, tired, I tend to, want to eat carby, kind of sugary snacks. I crave a lot of sugar, and that again will result in weight gain. If you're persistently not sleeping and you feel like often, we constantly need like those sugary snacks. I don't know if you've experienced that, but I certainly have. And this can, of course, lead to weight gain. Memory loss. Now, we talk about the baby brain as well, and that when we have young children, we, often we say, "Oh, I've got baby brain." This is because it can cause memory loss in people as well. And a child's brain, actually, they did an experiment where children, didn't sleep as much as they should have, and they had test scores of less than 30% less than those who had a really good sleep. So for your kids, it's really, really important to make sure that they're sleeping well and getting that good quality sleep. Decreased fertility. Again, it can affect your hormones, like I said before, and this can cause fertility problems, which is something. So if you are trying for a baby, it's really important to make sure that your sleep is on point as well. And again, we talked about faulty brain function. And again, with the children, it's really important that they are working at their optimum and getting enough rest. My little one said to me yesterday, oh, I don't want to go to sleep. I hate sleep. It's so boring. And I just thought, I love sleep. I can't wait to get into bed and have a good night's sleep. And again, low immunity. If you are finding, when you don't sleep, you might find that you're getting colds and coughs and things much more regularly than if you were having a really good sleep, because this is the time when your body restores, repairs, and you might be, you might feel that you're getting more aches and pains in your body due to the inflammation in the body, which is occurring because of this lack of rest and lack of recovery. Do you have any questions, Sister Rehan, on that point alone? Or should I continue?
Yep, I was just going to come in and ask you. So just to remind all our viewers, this is a live show. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions on YouTube chat. Inshallah, we will send them to Sister Farzana, who can then hopefully answer them for you. So any questions you do have, do you please use this opportunity while we are live to ask her, and inshallah she can shed a little bit of light on it. So just on the things that you were saying, just one question. What if someone is a night owl? So, they function the best at night. That's when their brain works. And I've noticed this with a lot of creative or artistic people. After 9 p.m., 10 p.m., when everyone's winding down, they suddenly have the best ideas. They can be the most creative in their writing. They do their best painting work or any creative work that's done. And they always say, I'm a night owl, so I prefer to sleep in the morning and kind of stay up at night and work. Is there a philosophy behind that? Is it just, needing to rewire your brain, or is this stuff real?
It's interesting you say that, because I hear that a lot, that, I'm a night owl. And actually, there's no research to suggest that people are night owls. We all have a circadian rhythm, which we function by. So back in the cave days when, they would use the light to tell them that it was time to sleep, and the morning light to say that it's time to wake. And so that was a natural cycle that people used to follow. And now, obviously, we work 24 hours and people do night shifts, but actually people who stay awake at those, in the early hours of the morning until there was lots of research to say that those people are more, they have a higher chance of getting strokes, cancers, all these other things. So actually that time from 10 to 12 is actually the best time to get your rest and recovery. And also, my husband always used to tell me, oh, I'm a night owl, I work better in the night. Actually, he's changed his the way he is just by changing his habits and just by coming into bed at slightly earlier. And he no longer calls himself a night owl now, and he likes prefers the morning. So maybe some people, yes, they do function better at that time, but I think on the whole, people tend to function better in the daytime if they were to go to sleep a bit earlier and wake up earlier. But it's all about the number of hours you sleep as well. Some people who sleep very late, they might then wake up very late. But in terms of medicine, from the research that I've read, it's actually better to sleep earlier.
Okay, so that's interesting. Now, someone who is a night owl, they can actually change their ways, and you don't have to be stuck in that way. You are able to adapt by obviously sleeping earlier. And as you said, and I've read this many a time, sleeping from 10 to 12, just those 2 hours, or 10 to 1, is literally like sleeping 6 hours after midnight, those couple of hours, because of how much body replenishing happens at that point, and how much of the recovery happens at that point, how much the body then gets rejuvenated in order to wake up. So I think that's really interesting that you mentioned that, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think people have to test it to see whether they can shift their patterns slightly earlier, and actually seeing the health benefits of sleeping more and better quality sleep will hopefully encourage people as well. So
definitely,
moving on.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you a night owl or are you a morning person?
Completely a night owl. This is why I was saying it's really interesting that we can actually change our ways. All my ideas come after 9 p.m. So it's going to be a bit of a game changer for me now.
You'll have to be our little experiment to see if this works.
Definitely.
So what is a sleep killer? So there are several sleep killers, mosque chai being one. Now, we absolutely love mosque tea. Late at night is probably not the best thing. I think we should all switch to decaf tea at night. My husband, actually, I talk about him a lot because he loves chai. And when I see him from the car park with his cup, I know it's going to be a bad night for him because he cannot sleep with tea. Coffee, again, it's a brilliant stimulant, but it is a stimulant and it will affect your sleep most definitely just before bed. You know, caffeinated drinks, any Coke, you know, fizzy things with caffeine, they're of course going to affect the quality of your sleep. Late night exercise. Now, a lot of people I know play badminton, which is fantastic, or any other, you know, team sports they play in the evening. But actually, try and leave at least 90 minutes before you go to sleep, because doing exercise pre-bed can have, you know, a detrimental effect on your sleep, because also your core temperature is higher after exercise. So you want your body temperature to actually go down before sleeping. Blue light. Now this one is, we all know, everyone, you know, hears it, no tech before bed, no computers, no phones. And yet we all kind of, you know, scroll on our phone or answer messages or might watch something on our phone. But the blue light definitely has a massive effect on our sleep. It affects the melatonin, which is another sleep hormone, which makes us drowsy. So it inhibits us getting a good night's sleep. Stress and overthinking. Now, this is one which I know a lot of mothers suffer from. A lot of my clients, you know, when they're going through a stressful period or something's happening with their kids, they can't sleep. And so it's really important to kind of get to the root cause of this and try and really calm your nervous system before bed so that you are not being affected by stress and all those thoughts which you suddenly come to the surface just before you want to hit the pillow. So maybe, you know, keeping a journal, a book next to your bedside table, or, you know, writing something down before bed to kind of like offload it really helps.
Sometimes it's difficult to kind of switch off at night, you know, after you've had such a busy day, whether you're a working mom or you're an active person or with, you know, things are going on in life. It's really difficult to switch off, kind of, you know, the way we get told when you go to pray Salah, try and take out a few minutes before you actually start your Salah to try and switch off, try and calm your thoughts down. Are there any tips in trying to do that before you go to sleep? Because even the Quran has said that the night is there for rest. And sometimes we just take on so much that it's difficult to allow that rest to even seep in. Do you have any tips that maybe we can take for that?
Yeah, of course. Like, we're very, you know, it's highly recommended to do wudu before bed, salawat before bed. So these are things which have already been taught to us, and yet we forget. But that can definitely already have a calming effect on the body, and also, you know, the central nervous system. Just, I guess, reading some Quran before you go to bed just calms the mind as well. And 10 to 30% of adults actually suffer from stress-induced insomnia, which is actually quite an alarming statistic. I don't know if you have any other extra tips as well with regards to from a religious standpoint.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, especially doing wudu, I think, is a big one. As again, the later we sleep, it gets very difficult to wake up for salah. You know, we have that whispering of shaitan saying it's still cold, you know, sleep back again. Hopefully, if we've had a few hours before Fajr time, we can actually have that ability to be able to wake up and fight that shaitan, fight that whispering within us. And even if we look at the way our Holy Prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he used to actually sleep through the night. He'd slept in such a way that, forget even waking up just for Fajr, but his Salatul Layl wouldn't be prayed in one chunk. He would say, I can't remember Allah just once, and then wait for so many hours till Fajr. He would wake up, pray 2 rakat Salat, then he'd sleep again, and again he'd wake up, 2 rakat Salatul Layl, again sleep, and he'd carry on this until he prays the final 2 rakat Shifa and the 1 rakat of Witr just before Fajr, so that the whole night is spent in ibadah. I think to myself, I struggle to wake up sometimes for a 2 rakat salah, but just imagine the strength and the love in his soul that he was able that duvet feels very heavy when it's time to wake up for Fajr. It feels like you're lifting weights at that time. But you can see the piousness of a soul that can actually make this happen. And it's something that we can all try and work towards, because he was a servant of Allah and we are given the same title of servant of Allah. Obviously, not at the level of the Prophet, but if he could wake up so many times through the night because of the purity in his soul, I'm sure it's something that we can start small. By the way, you said praying, doing wudu before we sleep, praying some Quran before we sleep, actually calming ourselves down, writing in a journal, maybe sleeping a little bit earlier so that hopefully we can wake up for that Salatul Fajr, and inshallah build it a bit earlier to wake up for Salatul Layl as well. I guess these are tips, practical tips that you've talked about that will definitely enhance our spirituality at the same time.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And actually I mean, even with the Salatul Fajr, when I say to my kids, I get really stressed because I know they find it really difficult to wake up in the morning. So, and reiterating and constantly telling them you have to sleep early in order to wake up early. So if that is affecting your salah, then it's something definitely that we have to kind of revisit and really reflect on our own lives to see how it's affecting us.
Definitely. I'm sorry to, just before you carry on your next bit, I've just got a few comments that I just wanted to read to you on
Sure.
YouTube. A sister has said, Salamun alaikum, I crave a lot of sweets at night. Because of that, my face becomes red, I get droopy eyes. Can you help me with what to do if I'm craving sweets at night?
It's difficult because there's so many things could be the cause of craving sugary things. It could be your diet. Well, it's probably due to your diet, maybe during the day, or it's good to write a food diary actually to see what you're eating, and perhaps you haven't eaten enough, perhaps you're not eating enough protein, maybe you're not sleeping enough, etc. So it's really difficult to kind of pinpoint why craving sugary things before bed. But if you are eating enough during the day and making sure that you're satiated with all tastes, so you've got a bit of salty, sweet, savory, etc., hitting your entire palate on your tongue, then inshallah, hopefully those cravings will subside. But sometimes also, I feel that sometimes we have to push through those cravings. Often it's very, very difficult. Don't get me wrong. I succumb to cravings many times, but sometimes we have to push through the cravings and kind of get through it to be able to forget it. Sometimes we have to be a bit disciplined with ourselves as well, just to because if it is causing other health issues such as the redness, etc., then just cutting that out or substituting it with something else. Maybe you need a hot drink before bed, or maybe some dates with nuts or something to alleviate that craving might help. But I would love to chat to you afterwards if you need any help, so that I can look at it in depth.
Brilliant, thank you. And another sister has asked, would you have any home remedies for natural sleep? So I'm guessing she's referring to not taking sleep pills or anything like that.
Yeah, so I will talk, I'll definitely touch on that shortly, and hopefully I'll be able to help with that. However, if I don't answer your question, please do reach out to me privately, and I'll be more than happy to go through things as well. But hopefully I'm going to touch on all of those things in a minute.
Perfect. And the last question before you can carry on, sorry. Do you have any specific time that you'd recommend for people to sleep? Would it be something like 8 or 9? And what time would you recommend to have dinner so that you've digested enough before you sleep?
Yeah, again, it depends what time you are depends what time you are waking up in the morning. So you kind of have to work yourself back just to make sure, and everyone's different. Some people need more sleep than others. And also it of course depends on the quality of your sleep as well. So I think it's a bit of trial and error with everyone. If you need to wake up early, say by 6 a.m., then perhaps you need to be in bed by 9-10 o'clock. If you can have a slightly later start, 7, then maybe 10 o'clock is fine for you. So it totally depends on the individual and how much sleep that person needs. Like myself, I need a bit more sleep, I think, than or, you know, even in my family, I look at my children, like some of my kids, they don't need as much sleep, and they're so sprightly and they're very energetic and they're fine with that. Whereas others, you know, they definitely need more sleep, and I'm very conscious of the fact that they need more sleep. So see how you are within the day, and it is really trial and error to see, okay, right, tonight I think I should sleep a bit earlier because yesterday I didn't feel fresh in the morning. Because when you wake up, we should feel, you know, we should naturally, I don't think there's ever a time where I need an alarm clock. I just naturally wake up because my circadian rhythm is set to wake up at a certain time. Even when I travel, you know, I'll wake up at a certain time because I'm so habitual with my sleep. But I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And a few people are just asking for your contact details for an email address. Will that be at the end of the slide, or is that something I can then share with them?
Yes, sure. So my social media kind of tags are at the bottom of the slideshow now, if you can see that. It's FWH Fitness or FWH_fitness for Instagram. And then my website address is fwhfitness.com. So you can reach out to me, you know, however way you wish, but feel free to contact me anytime. I'd love to help. So how many hours of
questions come up, I will intervene.
Of course, please do. So how many hours of sleep do you get each day? Is it less than 5 hours, 5 to 7 hours, or more than 7 hours? Just have a moment to ponder and reflect on that. So the ideal length to sleep through, you know, research, but obviously, like I said, everyone is different, is between 7 to 9 hours on average. And so younger people actually need a lot more sleep. So there was actually some research that said that teenagers should start school slightly later because, you know, they need the extra sleep, and it's detrimental to their health that if they're not getting enough sleep. So I think in some countries they have piloted this so that children of that age, so, you know, if your teenager is not waking up, it's not that they're being lazy, they genuinely need that extra sleep. And I touched on, you know, the circadian rhythm just now. That is your sleep-wake cycle. So, you know, like I was saying, if you don't need an alarm to wake you up, you've got a good circadian rhythm that is waking you up at a certain time. You feel tired at a certain time. And it's really good to keep to that, you know, habit of sleeping, going to bed at a certain time and then waking up at a certain time every day. Even on holiday, you know, we try not to sleep too late. We like to wake up early, so that you're not getting that kind of groggy feeling every morning, and that, you know, you want to make the most of your day and feel good when you wake up. So ways to improve sleep. So this is what we all want to know. I'll start off with medication. So medication can actually have a massive effect on your sleep. So if you are regularly taking medication, it's good to talk to your doctor to see, because some people might take their medication in the evening, and actually this could affect your sleep. So if you are taking medication regularly, you know, check with your doctor in case it does have that effect on your body. You might want to take it in the morning with food rather than at night. No caffeine after 12 p.m. So I know we talked about this earlier about mosque tea and that, but caffeine really does have a massive effect on your sleep. It actually has a half-life of 6 hours, so and a quarter life of 12 hours. So even after having your tea or coffee, it's still in your system 12 hours later. So I tend to have, just to be sure, because I don't want anything to affect me, I don't have any caffeine after 11 a.m. My husband say he won't have it even 12:01, he won't touch it because it affects his sleep, and it really does have a massive effect. And if you are very kind of conscious, or you can feel your body, it's very good to kind of get in tune with your body. So because I'm so what's the word, I feel now I'm in tune with how I am, what food affects me, what, you know, I've always been quite a sensitive character in that respect. So I definitely know when I've had too much caffeine, and even the quantity of coffees that you have during the day. You might have 4 coffees before 12, but actually for you, that might be quite a lot and could affect your sleep in the evening.
Just a question on that one. What if the tea doesn't affect you? Like, I know personally from talking from personal experience, I can have tea at the mosque at 11 p.m. and I can easily come back and knock out at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock. It just doesn't affect me, however many cups I have. I think I've become so immune to it. The typical poor girl who just loves their chai, and you become so immune to it. And that's when people say, if I had it, I can't sleep. I'm like, if I didn't have it, I won't be able to wake up. But at the same time, if I don't have it, I can't sleep. It's a bit of a cycle. And I know a lot of people who say tea, coffee doesn't affect me anymore. So,
Do
what
you
can you kind of?
may I ask you though, do you feel fresh when you wake up in the morning, or do you feel like you had a good night's sleep?
I think you have your days. There's some mornings where you wake up really refreshed, and there's some mornings where you feel like I just want to sleep that little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, but I mean, if you can sleep and feel completely, because again, like I said about the deep sleep, it's all about the quality of your sleep. So I know, a relative of mine, they will have an espresso before bed and then just completely knock out. But actually, they might, be waking up a few times in the night, just going into that deep light sleep, more than someone who would be completely, feeling fresh in the morning. So you're very lucky if you're able to sleep and feel refreshed in the morning, but it has been shown to have, effect on your sleep wake cycle during the night, because everyone wakes up in the night. But if we are tossing and turning, then it may be having an effect. But next time you go to mosque or next time you have your tea, be a little bit more conscious about how you feel in the morning and see, try and see the difference, and let me know what you think.
Definitely, I'm gonna check that. Definitely.
Okay, fantastic. Because you might still feel tired after, in the day, even though you've had a good night's sleep. But decaf is fantastic. You can have decaffeinated tea or coffee in the afternoon. I always need a hot drink in the afternoon, so I always stick to decaf. I have organic decaf coffee, which is not quite the same, but you still have a warm drink, which is nice. So create a bedtime routine. With children, we're so careful about with young babies and our children, we read them nice books. My children are always lucky enough to have a lovely massage, and we used to put them in the bath, etc. So very calm, like you wouldn't leave all the lights on in the house, and you wouldn't kind of make lots of noise, because you want your child to kind of drift off to sleep nicely. But in the same regard, when it comes to ourselves, we're like rushing around and doing jobs and doing lots of things, and then bam, we go into our bed and expect to just fall asleep. So it's really important to create a nice bedtime routine for us as well. So treat yourself, parent yourself, and do something nice. Like you might want to have it sounds so luxurious, but have a nice bath or have a shower, put some oils. Just create a really soothing routine. If you do suffer from sleep problems, then just creating this beautiful routine actually will really, really help you. And I've got some bits here which I tend to use, because I have a very overactive mind sometimes. And so, I love to use, I don't know if you can see this because I can't see you at the moment, but can you see this?
Yes.
So I like to use, some oils, just to, maybe it's psychological as well, but creating this habit has just made me like really, calm myself before bed. I might use some magnesium butter, which magnesium is proven to help with sleep. I have some, I don't use all of this, by the way, not every night. I have some borage tea, which is, this is blue leaf flower tea, which is, helps calm the nervous system. Chamomile tea and lavender tea is proven to help with sleep as well, to calm the nervous system. So all these things, create a bedtime routine for yourself so that you are kind of not stressed before you go to bed and you feel calm and relaxed. We talked about exercise before bed. Try to leave 90 minutes before you sleep so that you have your body temperature has come down and that you're not, wired before bed. I was finding, I used to play netball just before it was late at night, 9 o'clock. And by the time I got home, I just could not sleep. So I had to, unfortunately, stop playing netball in the evenings. And now I tend to exercise first thing in the morning. The 3-2-1.
That's quite interesting, actually. Sorry, before you move on, they've just asked if you can show the oil again, please, on the screen. because you're on big screen now, so everyone can just have a look at what you're showing.
Sure. So if people follow me, they'll know I'm obsessed with smell and beautiful smells and things. You don't have to spend a lot. I mean, this is the one that I use, but there's so many out there. I just like this particular one. But there's so many, you can use anything. You can make a homemade one, and it's just really the habit of just calming yourself.
So some people say keeping a scent on in the room makes a difference. Would you say even keeping a scent on, would you say rubbing it, or what kind of way would you say the best way is to kind of take it in so that it has a positive effect on you?
Yeah, so if you can smell it on you, then it's nice. I have a diffuser by my bed as well, which I like to keep by my bedside table. I also use a sleep mask, and that I find is brilliant, because especially if your partner's reading or whatever before bed, and you want to go to sleep, then I find it completely blocks out the light. And I mean, by morning it's off the head anyway, but so the morning light wakes me up. But that's a really good thing as well. Sleep masks are fantastic for kind of blocking that light to let your body know that now it's time for bed. The one thing that a lot of people keep the lights on bright before sleeping as well. It's really important to kind of tell your body it's time for bed now. So dim the lights around your house, like keep the lights low, even for the children. Like, it's really important to kind of separate that day night feeling, so that that's why even in the morning, going from getting that morning light, catching the sun, so that your body knows right now is morning. If we're going from kind of house to car to office, you're not getting that morning light, so sometimes it's difficult for your body to know the difference.
I think that's such a good idea about the light, because it's difficult for you to suddenly go from 100 to 0, to go from bright lights in the house to a sudden 0 and say, okay, go to sleep now. It's very difficult. Whereas kind of dimming the lights, having that dimming atmosphere, having the ambience in the room, the smells, the senses, all of that kind of starts calming you down. So by the time you get to bed, you're actually ready to kind of drift off. I think it's making those subtle changes.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one, the 3-2-1 method. My children call me out all the time on this one, because I talk to them about 3-2-1. So 3-2-1 is like a simple thing you can remember. 3 hours, no food before bed, and this means like a heavy meal before bed. 2 hours, no drinks before bed, and of course you can have a sip of water or something. And I believe someone mentioned actually to me that I think it's highly recommended to drink before bed. I think someone told me this, but actually in our religion, but I'm not, you don't want to be drinking like gallons before bed, because you don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, which of course will affect your sleep as well. So 3 hours, no heavy meals before bed, 2 hours, no lots of drinking before bed, and no cognitive stimulation 1 hour before bed. And that is, leave your phone downstairs. Don't bring it up into the bedroom at all. Any kind of electronics in the room has an effect on your sleep. Now I just have like a little travel alarm clock, which keep beside the bed. So even when you travel, you can just take this with you. You don't need your phone in the room, and it stops you from using your phone, at night. And also in the morning, when you first wake up in the morning, the last thing you want to do is actually open up your phone and get that blue light and start, your mind's getting stressed with the emails or, whatever needs to be done for the day. So that's important as well. So the 3-2-1 is a really good, it just helps you remember.
That's an excellent tip, I think, to take away, to be able to try this method at least. It's a difficult one, but it's a good one to try, definitely.
It is difficult, especially if you're like, you've got shift work or you're coming in late with the kids with activities or whatever. But try and, even if you were to follow kind of the pyramid methods of eating, so you have your biggest meal in the morning, if you're able to, and then, a lighter meal in the afternoon, and then your smallest meal is in the evening. But what we do is we flip it. We have our smallest meal, or maybe nothing, in the morning, and then slightly bigger meal in the lunchtime, and then we have our heavy meal in the evening. And you know, it doesn't have to be that way. You can change the culture. There's nothing to say that it has to be that way. It's all about sitting down as a family and eating, but you could maybe, you know, change it if you're able to. Nutrition has a massive effect on, you know, your sleep as well. If you're, like I was saying about the heavy meal before bed, that can have a detrimental effect on your sleep. A diet low in fiber and high in saturated fat affects your deep sleep, so affects the amount of deep sleep you have. And, you know, lack of vitamins and minerals in your diet is going to affect your sleep. So I touched upon the magnesium. Magnesium is one of those which many women, in fact, are very deficient in. And especially during the menopause, you know, people find that they're waking up a lot and it's affecting their sleep. So just check with your doctor, maybe get your magnesium levels tested, and just make sure you're getting enough of that in your diet as well. Again, excess sugar we talked about, that can have a big effect on your sleep as well. It affects you waking up a lot in the night. And actually, I find that if I haven't eaten enough in the daytime, that also can affect, you know, if I'm hungry, I'll wake up and it will make me want to kind of wake up and I won't be able to go back to sleep. Walnuts actually have a compound called tryptophan, which is very good for sleep. So that's something that you can add into your diet. And it has lots of sleep enhancing amino acids, which are, you know, help with your sleep. So that could be, and helps with kind of leveling out your serotonin and melatonin levels. Sorry, just moving on. They're showing all these pictures. So morning exposure, you know, we talked about the circadian rhythm. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my morning walks all the time. It's something I'm very fond of, and it's something which really sets you up for the day. So it's all about feeling energized in the day. Not only will this help you sleep in the evening, but also it just energizes you and makes you feel good for the day, and it makes you have good food choices and just makes you feel really happy. So that's something I would definitely encourage if you can. And it could be, you know, before school even. If your husband's at home or someone else is at home, the kids are old enough to be on their own, then maybe just pop out for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and just get that morning exposure before work or school. You know, often we say, oh, I don't have time, but it's actually, where do you put your time? Like, where is your time most important? You know, where is it spent most? And just kind of have a little evaluation of whether you can fit those little bits in to make yourself feel a bit better. Mouth taping. Now, this is one which not many people have heard of, but if you are someone who breathes through their mouth rather than their nose, this is actually not a good thing, because when you are breathing through your nose, your lungs, you know, they're not working as well as they would do if you were breathing through, sorry, how have I... So, sorry, you need to be breathing through your nose rather than your mouth. So if you're, you know, snoring, then this isn't very good for your health. And mouth taping. So this is just, I don't know if you can see this, just a little, you know, the microporous tape you might get for, to put even on your earrings if you're playing games or whatever, or you just put a little strip on your mouth. Like, you can wear it like this, or you can put it like this, and that will help you breathe through your nose rather than your mouth. Also, when you breathe through your mouth, you're drying up your mouth as well, and this can lead to gum disease. So it can have effects, you know, on your bacteria in your mouth as well.
Does this help with snoring by any chance? Snoring's become a really big thing. You know, very difficult to sleep with someone snoring. Would this taping of the mouth help with that, or does that happen with breathing from the nose, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it will kind of force you to breathe through your nose rather than your mouth. And also when we're, you know, if you're breathing through your mouth a lot and you're drying up your mouth, and you're breeding lots of bacteria in your mouth, which is again going to affect your gut. So, and when your gut health is not good, the rest of you becomes, susceptible to illnesses through your gut. So this could definitely help. So if you are a mouth breather, I would definitely try this out. Some people, you can hear them a lot when they're sleeping, when they're talking, when, you can hear if you're a mouth breather. So just test it out. And if your husband snores a lot, maybe suggest, or even if you snore a lot, try this out, and do let me know if it helps.
Definitely, good tip.
So the next one, blue light blockers. So I actually make the kids wear these as well. So when they're working on their computers in the evening, just, you can buy these anywhere, just pop on some glasses and it's super easy. And that kind of blocks some of the light out so that you're not being exposed before bed. Because like I said, it affects the melatonin, which helps you sleep. So that's a really good tip there. And I mentioned about the alarm clock already. Again, the room temperature. Now we tend to, want to be quite warm when we sleep, but I will be freezing when I go to sleep, and then I'll end up waking up in the middle of the night and feel really, really hot. So it's better to be a bit cooler when you go to sleep, and then to be too hot, and that helps you sleep better and longer as well.
So we have someone asking, our mothers have always taught us, make sure you drink a glass of milk before you go to sleep. Is that real? Is that good for you, drinking milk before you sleep?
Yeah, I think that's more of a habit than anything else. Like I know a friend of mine, they always used to have milk before sleep. In my family, it wasn't a thing. So I think it just depends on how you've been brought up, and maybe it's more of a habit than anything else. Like you could maybe bring that milk forward and have it earlier in the day, rather if you want to have that milk. I don't think you specifically need it before bed. Like even when you're
potty training, not a scientific thing of having milk.
I don't think so. I'm not aware of anything. But even when you're potty training your child, like you wouldn't give them a glass of milk before bed because you'd be scared that they would wet the bed. So similar, I mean, not that we're going to wet the bed, but like we don't want to be waking up to the toilet to in the middle of the night and affect our sleep, because even that one wake up will affect how well we feel the next morning. So in summary, so we've gone through a lot. We have talked about the effects of not sleeping enough, and also I hope I've gone through enough of ways to correct your sleep. But do find your rhythm and find your own kind of sleep cycle that works for you. Now it's only when you sleep well that you realize, when you've had a bad night, how badly it affects you. So, and that's a really positive thing, because you can see that the difference between sleeping well and not sleeping well. And I know that myself, I've gone through periods of really bad insomnia, and now I'm so strict with my sleep, and try and do as best as I can with lots of different things, just so that I'm in a better place to sleep better. But just be mindful of those sleep killers.
Okay, so just to build on that, we've read many statistics that show when you're actually sleeping, the sleep is broken up into small fractions of hours, and each fraction is built up of an hour and a half. Is that true? So they said, for example, if you want to wake up in the morning, you do it for every hour on the times when you wake up. For example, the next time I would want to wake up, for example, would be 11 and a half. And that's how the cycle works. Is that actually true?
Yeah, so your body does go through this wake sleep. You go through deep sleep and light sleep and deep sleep and light sleep. I guess it depends on when you slept, and everyone will have a different kind of rhythm. But if someone was to record your kind of sleep on a graph, they would see, it would be going up and down like that. So yeah, but I'm not sure when would be the best time to like wake you up, etc. It would depend on the person.
So is this hour and a half thing real or not? This kind of 90 minutes kind of pattern that
Yeah,
we're
we
told about? Because I've just read it in so many places. We're talking about literally 90 minutes.
Yeah, we have those 90 minutes stints where we have the deep sleep and then we wake and deep sleep wake. So even children, they have the same same rhythm and sleep cycle. And that's why that quality of sleep between 10 and 12 is really, that's when you get the rest and repair. So it's really important that you try and get to bed as early as possible. I mean, not too early. You don't want to sleep at 8 o'clock, then you'll be waking up at 4 a.m. Unless you need to wake up at 4 a.m. Because some people wake up so early and then I've been awake so early, but then you see what time they slept and actually they've had enough sleep for them.
Definitely. Okay, so just the last 2 questions before we end. I know we said we were going to have a short one, and the questions have gone on. Just a few more. During exam season, a lot of the youth struggle to sleep because they've got a lot on their mind, and kind of obviously after uni, the work learning affects their sleep quite a lot. And because of that, they're quite stressed. Their sleep is on, sleep is off. How would you recommend, or what advice would you give to someone who's going through exam periods on how they can kind of maximize their sleep time as well as their study time?
Yeah, so my son's going through exactly this. And just everything, we've spoken about making sure you're eating enough, your sleep, you're waking up. Again, we have this habit of kind of working till the early hours of the morning, thinking that, that's going to be helpful or useful for us. But really, sleep is more important than anything. Even people who are trying to lose weight and they come to me and they're like, oh, but I can't lose weight. What's happening? And the first thing I ask is, how is your sleep? Because that can affect all the hormones in your body. And if you're not sleeping properly, you're not going to be able to lose fat in the same way as someone who is getting a good night's sleep. So with regards to the exams, just keeping the mind super calm, keeping to a good sleep schedule, not, we think, oh, you have to keep working. Actually, it's not the hours you're working, it's the quality of time that you're working for. So for example, me, I've always been an early morning person. So I would sleep early and set my alarm for like 4:30, even 5 a.m. and get my work done then. If you prefer to sleep, like you were saying, you're more of a night owl, maybe, I wouldn't sleep too late, but spend some time in the evening and then maybe sleep a little more in the morning. But definitely, eat well, have enough protein, have all the good seeds and fats and nuts, healthy things which are going to keep our hormones kind of ticking well. And you don't want to be getting sick as well. Like, it's really important to keep your body in tip-top condition with eating good food that is going to keep you well and healthy. And we get stressed a lot because, first of all, we're not sleeping, and then it has a vicious cycle.
Okay, so that leads me on to an interesting question, actually. Last one, I think, that we're going to deal with. Is it healthy to have naps in the afternoon? We've seen, especially when a lot of people, our parents come from Africa, used to having that afternoon nap after tea, after lunch, and obviously they come here and they carry. We know for the kids, obviously, young kids still have naps throughout the day, and they just feel energized every time they wake up. So could this be a reason for someone to sleep late at night, wake up a little bit earlier in the morning, and then say, I'm going to nap in the afternoon? Is that a healthy thing to do?
Yeah, this is a tricky one because I know I keep saying this, it depends on the individual, but it really does. Like, I know my dad, he's always had, since I think I was tiny, he's always had a tiny, even a power nap, like even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, he needs that because he wakes up at, 4:30 in the morning. So he needs that to kind of keep him going until evening. But if it is affecting your sleep in the evening, then you need to cut it out and just sleep a bit earlier. So it's really getting into that routine and rhythm for yourself and what works for your life. If you're a mother who needs to wake up early, then you really need to get into bed early so that you're able to kind of function in the daytime with your kids. But there has been lots of research, Spanish in Spain, they have siestas, and they're seen to be the healthiest people because they are sleeping enough. I wish we could all have a nap, to be honest. It would be lovely.
Wow. Definitely. So I guess what you've kind of summarized us with is what's really important to try and stay away from before we sleep, and what's important to try and have to improve the quality of our sleep, making sure the timings are looked at. So it's the quality of the sleep rather than the quantity. Yet at the end of the day, everyone's different. So you need to work with you and understand the kind of, the fast pace or the slow pace life of what you're going with, and hopefully work to that to build yourself a lifestyle or a night's sleep which allows you to wake up fresh in the morning. I think that's the ideal key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Feeling energized and full of life and enjoying and, making the most of the day rather than, going around saying, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. That's what we all aspire to.
Definitely, because it's quite draining. I'm tired all day long as well, because it always reflect each other. When you're tired, your personality as well. Because we've seen if someone yawns, the person will start yawning straight away. You kind of have that mirror effect on each other. So definitely, it's a boost of positivity to be waking up energized and fresh. And thank you. So we've come to the end of our show today. Sister Farzana, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. Any last words that you want to leave with our viewers that hopefully can benefit them on their sleep journey?
Yeah, just have a look at your own sleep cycles. I hope you're able to incorporate any of these tips. But sleep is so key for your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being. And, we kind of discount it as, oh, we'll sleep, when we're older or whatever. But honestly, sleep is key to longevity of life, and just every aspect of your life. It has a massive effect, and you want to be the best version of yourself. So do get enough sleep. But thank you so much for inviting me, and inshallah, I hope to see you again soon as well. But feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Inshallah. Thank you for giving us your time and for sharing your knowledge and information with us all about how important it is to have a good night's sleep. Hope this is us thinking. I know I'm talking about myself first, to get us thinking of what can I do to make my sleep that little bit better, make my day more efficient, make my energy that much better. What do I need to stay away from? What do I need to have more of? And exactly looking at that way that it's not just something we're doing in this dunya, but it's something that's helping our spirituality to be able to get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe our fajrs will be better. Maybe Salatul Layl will start. Maybe our days will be more energized, that we are able to do more dhikr. Again, this all starts with the health of our body and the health of our sleep, inshallah. So Jazakallah khair to all of you who joined us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Sister Farzana. She did give her Instagram handle, her Facebook handle, and her website, fwhfitness.com. So you can contact her and inshallah she'd be happy to help. So on behalf of Lantern of Light, we'd just like to remind you to be able to keep a look on our website, which is lanternoflight.co.uk, and also on our Instagram page, Lantern of Light Official, where new posts come out, inspirational quotes, things that can actually motivate you. Also, we have a program tonight, inshallah, which is first of many starting today, Monday, called Mindful Mondays. Today's one will be with Sister Naseem Walji Pir Muhammad and Sister Farzana Hirji Karawali, talking about how important is it to self-reflect. Why has Imam Ali alayhi salam advocated reflection? How can we enhance it through our mental capabilities? And what hinders our ability to reflect? So please do join us tonight. That will be live on Instagram at 8:30 p.m. inshallah on the official Lantern of Light page. And also part 2 of Sheikh Jawad Shamali's Delving into Dua Kumel will be live on Thursday, 2nd of February. That's this Thursday at 7 p.m. UK time. We hope, inshallah, you benefited from today's program. Inshallah, any feedback, any comments, please feel free to contact us on the website or through the Instagram page, inshallah, and we will have a read and inshallah try and build on it in future. It's the month of Rajab. Let us remember each other in our du'as, and we pray to be amongst those who are called the Rajabiyun, the ones who truly were able to surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His asks, through His wishes, through His dhikr, as it is these months that allow us to grow closer to Him, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. Keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها